Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to do something a little bit different. Behind me is the new 2016 Range Rover Td6 diesel. We're going to have a bit of fun, see what it's all about, and take it off-roading. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in and get started. Alright, so as many of you guys know, we've checked out a lot of Land Rover products in the last year and quite a number of Range Rovers, 2 sports and 1 full-size Range Rover HSE, but the one thing that we haven't been able to do yet is get any off-road experience with them. So since we've gone over all the technical facts and stuff in the previous videos, I thought for this one, let's do something different, let's do something fun. We're out at the Uari National Forest at their off-road training facility, and they've basically given us the whole facility all day just so we can play around and try the different off-road modes and raise and lower the suspension, maybe do a little bit of mild rock climbing, hill ascending, descending, and all of that kind of stuff. And I mean, just the initial impressions, just driving around and everything, this thing is absolutely incredible. Being my first time driving any Land Rover product off-road, this is a real treat. I mean, it's so refined. I mean, the air suspension driving over like grassy fields and stuff is just, it's so supple and well controlled. And this diesel engine just packs so much more torque than the regular V6. It should be perfect for what we're going to do today. All right, so let's go ahead and tackle our first hill for the day. It looks to be about a 45-degree angle or so, so it's definitely steeper than anything I've ever climbed up before. I mean, I'm pretty new to the off-roading scene anyway, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Plus, when you have all the information displayed for the 4x4 system and the instrument cluster or the infotainment system, you can see like the differential lock, you can see the wheels articulating, but I have this cool junction view that shows the corners of the front of the vehicle. It's just, here we go. Here goes nothing. Oh, that's so crazy. Whew. See, the Range Rover has what's called the Terrain Response 2 system. That's basically the selectable various like off-road modes and stuff that you have. There's a permanent four-wheel drive system. There's a infinitely variable center locking differential, at least in this particular model. I mean, everything just works in the background with like hill descent control, like hill start assist, roll stability control, like all these types of things that I've talked about in prior videos. And this thing is so easy to drive around here. I mean, it's almost laughable how easy and comfortable it is. I mean, gosh, even at higher speeds, aside from the undulations and stuff bouncing back and forth, I mean, it's effortless. And the other thing that I really like about this, it's so easy to see out of. There's a lot of glass around here. I mean, I've driven 2 Range Rover Sports so far, one supercharged and the high performance SVR. And this is a whole lot bigger than both of those vehicles, but it doesn't feel cumbersome at all. It drives like a much smaller vehicle. I mean, we're going over some seriously undulating terrain right now at some pretty decent speeds, like, you know, about 20 miles an hour or so, which seems pretty fast for terrain like this, but there's no annoying bump steer. It just feels confident. It doesn't feel like the vehicle's going to get away from you. You're going to hit a rock and just dart off to the left into a tree or something like that. But I mean, it's amazing. It's just, it's absolutely amazing. Alright guys, they got a pretty cool course ahead of us right now. There's a little steep hill, some bank curves, some spots where you can test out some wheel articulation, things like that. We're going to take their Toyota FJ Cruiser 6-speed out there just to get a kind of a lay of the land and stuff and see what it's like. So let's hop in and get started. This is so cool. All right, had a couple goes in the FJ, so we're pretty comfortable with the course. Chris has the steady cam. He's gonna try to get some cool shots and stuff. Now it's time to hop back in the Range Rover and get started. All right, here we go, nice and steady. Probably you're gonna see some wheels coming off the ground on this one. Gosh, that's a crazy sensation. Oh man. All right, now for the hill. Again, it's just a crazy sensation. You're just driving up into the sky, it looks like. Coming down nice and slow. The ground clearance on this thing is just excellent when it's in its off-road suspension. I mean, it's pretty awesome in general, but crazy what this thing is capable of. Now we have a little bit of a banked hill to the right. It's going to crest at the top and roll to the opposite side. Oh man. Hill descent control doing its thing, keeping everything nice and steady. That's amazing. Wow. So let's check out this beautiful interior. For a closer look, be sure to check out my in-depth reviews that are in the top right-hand corner of this video. I mean, when you're sitting in the driver's seat, this command driving position allows you to see just all the way around the vehicle. And that's what I was talking about earlier. The visibility is excellent, and it definitely comes in handy when you're navigating these tight trails and everything like that. The ergonomics, the overall fit and finish, and general feel of the vehicle is absolutely top-notch. This is one of my favorite interior environments in the premium SUV class, just because it has a little bit of heritage to it. I mean, the Range Rover styling language today is very similar to what you would find 10 years ago. It's just a lot more modern, more updated, I mean, everything is easy to reach. There's not too many buttons and stuff everywhere. You have a more modern infotainment system, the digital instrument cluster. It's all very nice and technology laden, but at first glance, it's very simple. As far as the fit and finish and materials, in this particular trim, just about everything is wrapped in just the softest leather you can imagine. There's heated and cooled front seats, a quad zone climate control system. You can even opt for a refrigerated cool box in the center console, which, again, on an off-roading adventure, that's pretty cool. I mean, just the steering wheel itself, it's wrapped in leather. This one's optional. It has the wood trim up top and bottom. There's a leather-wrapped airbag cover. I mean, it's fantastic. The seats have good overall support. I mean, a little bit of lateral support, great lower back support, and just plenty of padding all where it matters the most. So let's go and talk a bit more about what's sitting under the hood. So the Range Rover Td6 is powered by a turbocharged 3-liter V6. It has a graphite iron block for added strength. There's aluminum heads, and it develops about 254 horsepower and 443 pound-feet of torque, which compared to the standard supercharged V6 is a 32.5% gain in torque, which is quite nice. I mean, diesel fuel is more power dense than regular gasoline either, so you not only gain the extra torque and stuff that comes typically with diesel engines, but you also gain a significant boost in fuel economy. That's the biggest advantage for this vehicle, because you have the same towing rating. It's about 3,500 kilograms, which, if I remember correctly, is just over 7,700 pounds. So you get the same capability that you get with the other one, but for, I think it's a $1,500 premium over the regular V6 for the diesel model, you get that extra fuel economy. The engine has a 16:1 compression ratio, has a low pressure exhaust gas recirculation system, a diesel exhaust fluid like urea emissions treatment system, and a 2-stage oil pump. It's available in both the Range Rover, like the entry level, as well as the Range Rover HSE, which is the one that we're driving today. Probably the thing that I'm most impressed about with this vehicle is how quiet the diesel engine is. This is by far the quietest diesel I've ever driven. I mean, there's special engine mounts that they use to quell noise, vibrations, and harshness. I mean, the Range Rover is a very well insulated vehicle to begin with, and you have acoustic laminated glass. I mean, really, if you weren't paying that close of attention, it's not that much different, like noise levels, compared to your typical direct injected V6, which is really, really impressive. So you don't get like an annoying diesel clatter or anything like that. It still feels very refined. There's not a whole lot of engine or exhaust sounds. I mean, just when you're cruising down the road, I mean, listen, that's nothing. We're cruising in 8th gear at 55 miles an hour, and I mean, it's absolutely perfect. So with the new generation Range Rover, you get an aluminum intensive body structure, which is significantly lighter than the previous model. So combine that with the extra efficiency of the diesel V6, and you get a pretty nice, relatively efficient offering for its class. And of course, most importantly, is fuel economy. This has a 27-gallon tank and is rated between 22 miles per gallon in the city and 29 on the highway. It averages around 25 miles to a gallon. That's quite impressive for as big and heavy as this thing is, especially compared to the other Range Rovers I've driven. I mean, just compared to the regular supercharged V6, that's an increase of around 29, 26, and I think 32% respectively. That's a range of over 650 miles or so, which is just crazy. It makes it a lot more of a frugal, I guess you would say. It's probably not the right word considering it's a $106,000 Range Rover, but you definitely save a little bit of money at the pump, which is quite nice, especially if you use it a lot for traveling. So I imagine that $1,500 would pay off pretty quickly. Just like the other Range Rovers we've tested, the diesel is also paired to an 8-speed ZF-sourced electronically controlled automatic transmission routed through this rotary dial in the center console. It's able to change gears in 200 milliseconds. It's very, very smooth and also very responsive. I love this transmission. I mean, you can get it in so many different vehicles, from high-performance cars to luxury vehicles, SUVs. I mean, the applications of this transmission is just awesome, and it never disappoints. I also like the fact that it has a sport mode, so it holds the gears a little bit longer between shifts when you have it in that mode. There's also paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, so combined with the rev matching downshifts, you can have a little bit of fun through the corners. Also with that, I mean, The performance figures and stuff, while it may not seem super impressive as far as the horsepower, I mean, the torque really gets this thing moving. It's a 0 to 60 time of around 7.4 seconds, which again doesn't sound crazy, but when you consider what it is and stuff, I mean, when you're thinking about supercharged Range Rovers, the V8s and stuff being in the like less than 6 seconds or so, I mean, this isn't too far off from a full-size Range Rover supercharged V6. Maybe a few tenths of a second or so. It definitely feels a lot faster on the highway, and for anyone, you know, daily driving and stuff, I mean, highway maneuvers, passing, it's got so much more get up and go than you would think. It's definitely worth the test drive to check it out for yourself. Like I said, the diesel can hit 60 miles an hour in just 7.4 seconds, which I think is rather quick. Just a little bit of turbo lag. Transmission shifts nice and quick. Like I said, it's very quiet. Just awesome. It's more than enough power. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the Range Rover is probably the best bang for your buck when you consider its off-road capabilities and luxury appointments. I mean, you have the Mercedes G-Class and you have the Bentley Bentayga, which is a whole nother stratosphere of price point. But this is very, very modern. I like it. It still has the classic Range Rover, Land Rover feel, so I think they did a great job executing this. And for people who prioritize economy and efficiency over anything else, the diesel is a very attractive offer that's not that much more expensive from your typical supercharged V6. So great job. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look and quick off-road adventure of the new 2016 Range Rover Td6. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone. As with other press cars I received, Land Rover provided this example for a whole week of testing, so when we get it back and we do stuff like this, of course, we want to make sure it's in better shape than it was when it got here. I mean, even though it's not our vehicle and stuff, I feel like it's proper to take care of, you know, other people's property and everything like that. Plus, I like detailing. It's a lot of fun, so after doing something like this, being able to come home and basically undo the day and make this thing look like brand new again, it's just so much fun.